A young woman was unconscious and dying of cancer. She was also 26.5 weeks pregnant. Racing against the clock, the hospital asked the court for permission to perform a C-section. The court was still struggling with this decision and its implications for bodily integrity 3 years later in the appeal in re AC. AC had been treated for leukemia since she was a child, but her cancer was in remission when she got married at 27. She wanted to have a baby right away. When AC was 25 weeks pregnant, her doctor discovered a tumor in her lung. She was admitted to the hospital with a terminal prognosis. The doctors believed the fetus's chances of viability would improve by reaching 28 weeks of gestation. A week later, AC's condition deteriorated. Doctors predicted that she'd die within 24 hours. She was heavily sedated. The fetus was suffering oxygen starvation. Some of the treating physicians wanted to perform an immediate cesarean section. Others objected that AC hadn't consented to a C-section before 28 weeks of gestation and cited the risk of disabilities. The hospital brought the dispute to the Superior Court. After a hearing at the hospital, the trial judge determined that the fetus was viable and the District of Columbia had an interest in protecting its potential life. It decided that a C-section should be performed. In a lucid moment, AC agreed to this, but then apparently mouthed the words, quote, "I don't want it done," unquote. The trial court's motions division declined to stay the order, and the C-section was performed. Both AC and the baby died. A few months later, the court heard the case en banc. It held that interference with a mother's bodily integrity is permissible if it gives a potentially viable fetus a chance at life. 3 years later, AC's personal representative sued the hospital. He argued that the state shouldn't have subordinated AC's right to bodily integrity to the state's interest in preserving the potential life of a viable fetus. Though AC's specific case was moot, the court agreed to hear the appeal because similar situations were likely to occur in the future.